I know quite a few of you, the faces in the room, so I'll just briefly give you a bit of my health background, because it's kind of what's driven me in the world that we're talking about today. So just very briefly, diagnosed age 12 with a incurable bowel condition known as Crohn's disease, 25 surgeries later, a small bowel that starts at around 6 metres, ends up being 40 centimetres, and I'm basically lying in hospital, kept alive through intravenous feeding. Sitting in UCH Hospital in London, University Hospital London, and they tell me the only way of going forward is to have a bowel transplant. But you've been under 11, too risky, don't have it done in the UK. My wife and I fly off to America, and we meet a great surgeon at Mount Sinai in New York, and he says, you need a bowel transplant, and we only need $500,000 and we can do it for you tomorrow. Or we can list you tomorrow. But as a throwaway remark, he says, go and see a guy at Oxford. He's just joined there, he trained in Miami, and he might be really good. And I do what, according to the Pew Institute in America, 86% of patients do, but I suspect it's even more, turn to Google for information. And turn to it via my mobile, because apparently now 71% of us look at our health information on our mobile. There wasn't anything about the surgeon, so I rock up and meet this guy, and it remains in my mind forever, because he just turned up with the worst fitting Ralph Lauren jeans you could ever wish to see, rather. But he did something incredible, and it was the start of my journey. He didn't look at the egg ring binders of notes that were on the NHS table. He just took a blank A4 sheet of paper, and he drew what my bowel looked like now, and then he tore that off, and then on the next sheet of paper he drew what it would look like after transplant, and within 2 minutes that trust had been built between doctor and patient. And for me, you know, everything about healthcare, whether it be technology, whether it be new surgical techniques, whether it be new medications, actually fundamentally it's about a relationship, and it's about building those relationships, and how can we unleash it? My answer is we can only unleash it if we really start to build relationships and collaboration together. So I go through transplant, and I have 7 months in hospital to get used to the hospital food, which diet. And I'm lying there after transplant, and part of the procedure is that they give you a stoma. And for those of you who don't know what a stoma is, it's basically where part of your bowel is brought to the outside of your stomach, and your bodily waste is collected in a bag known as a stoma bag. And you lose control of the very thing that you kind of take for granted, going to the loo. And you lose dignity instantly. And there are about 150,000 patients that sadly go to the toilet in a bag in the UK, and there are about 5 million patients around the world that have the same difficulties. And I'm lying there in hospital, and I'm watching this bag leak and spill and cause me problems. And then at the same time, the doctors are saying to me, you need to measure your crap, because we need to know what the output is, and we need to know when it happens, because by knowing that, we can tell whether your gut is functioning properly, and whether things are absorbing properly, or whether there's a blockage, etc. So you're sitting in hospital, and you're trying to basically empty your crap into a bowl, write down that measurement, put it on a chart, give it to a nurse who can put it on a fluid balance chart, and it's not great. So I did what an awful lot of patients do. I turned to social media, and Marie Ennis would have articulated it an awful lot better, but for me, you know, one of the greatest underutilised resources in healthcare is without doubt peer-to-peer interaction and that ability to talk to another patient. So I went onto social media and I spoke to about 30,000 patients around the world through various groups going, do you experience the same problem as I do? How do you manage your condition? What do you do about measuring and etc.? And the feedback was very simple, is we don't measure, we just guess, and we just send it back to the nurse and just hope that they deal with it. And actually, yeah, all these companies are coming up with amazing bags and amazing this and that, but they all do the same thing. They overflow and spill because we have no control of when our output is. So I started asking them, is there technology to help us out there? Is there anything you use to make life better? And there wasn't. And I'm sitting in hospital, and as I said, I had an awful lot of time. So I'm staring at a bag attached to my body and going, okay, well, every time it fills, the bag changes shape. So if I could get something to alert me when that bag starts to change shape, I can stop it spilling. So I went back to Google, and I went onto eBay, and I bought a handful of parts and bits of kit, etc. And got this eBay stuff delivered to the ward. And I found online this sensor strip from a Nintendo Wii glove. And the principle of this strip was, when you put your hand in the glove and you bent the glove, it sent a signal somewhere. So for me, it was, well, if I could take that strip and put it on a bag, as that bag moved and the strip sort of moved, it might send a signal somewhere. And on the ward, thanks to wonderful YouTube, because I have no electronics background, I built a prototype sensor, and it was very simple. It was a sensor that at the time was sellotaped onto the outside of the bag, and as that bag started to fill, it sent a signal, and it started to alert me. And then the doctors would say, well, if you can do that, is there a way of calculating automatically what's in that bag, that volume, so you don't have to empty it? So again, I went out to the crowd, I went out to patients to ask them, if you had a sensor, would you use it? Would you pay for it? How much would you pay for it? What do you want it to do? How would it affect your use? Because it's something on the outside of the bag, does it weigh too much? Would you do it? I could gather all this free information from other patients who were just fantastic and sharing their stories and everything else. And then I don't know if any of you have seen the programme here at BBC Two, Dragon's Den, where you go and pitch your ideas. So that's what I did. I went and pitched this prototype sensor, which started life with a BlackBerry battery and a strip from a Nintendo Wii and a few bits of wires. And I pitched it to a guy who eventually gave me a few quid to turn it into a proper device. And over the course of the next year, that hand-built sensor became a device. And when that device was built, I was like, okay, well, I know a lot of the patients in the UK, but I don't know a lot of patients around the world. Can I go and then take what I built and give it back to patients and go, give me feedback, give me the market research, tell me whether it's any good? And so off I trekked with my gear to America to a big patient conference and said, here it is, what do you think? Got all the feedback, got all the information, brought it back, and then decided that if this device was going to be adopted, it needed to go through all the regulatory hurdles. And then I just thought to myself, fine, I'm going to go through the UK and the US in parallel, and we're just going to work out where we get to first. I have no idea about regulation, I don't know what any of it meant, but the power of Google and the power of other patients is amazing, because the information you can get back for free is staggering. So CE certification is quite simple, and in the UK, classification for I guess non-invasive, non-intrusive devices is actually a self-certification. So you can do that quite quickly through the MRHA. And at the same time in America, I went through the FDA regulatory approvals. And there's a big contrast in difference between trying to get approvals and then adoption in the UK versus the US. And this is nothing to do with NHS England or individual trusts. This is just to do with an application of a device and how it gets adopted. So in the UK, when you talk to patients, the majority of them go, is it prescribable? Can I get it prescribed? And then you go and talk to the drug tariff, and they go very simply, what's the economic benefit to it? Don't care about the patient side of it, what's the economic benefit? But when you go to America, the first thing they say, what's the benefit to the patient? Will it improve the quality of life, and will it improve their ability to get back to normal? And then there's the economic and the regulatory, and here it's very different, and it's slightly skewed. So I go through 9 months of FDA regulatory approval in America with the device, come out the other end, get it adopted, and have a device now that is fantastically being adopted by major centers around the US, everybody from Stanford to Cleveland Clinic to Mayo, Massachusetts General, etc. And in the UK, it's sitting with the drug tariff people who go, can you give me a health economic argument for this benefit and create one? And, well, the first thing you do is turn to the digital health team at NHS England and Simon and go, help, how do I do this? Because there's no pathway to adopt patient-led innovation in the UK. There's no, streamlined process that says follow A to Z and come out the other end and either you get it right or you get it wrong. In the US there is, it's very simple. It takes 9 months, but they tell you exactly what you have to go through. So you do a health economic argument here, and in my particular case, my device shows a 33% cost saving against current treatments. You get other patients to wear it and show quality of life, etc. But again, it's trying to get that streamlined approach in the UK to how do we adopt technology. And going through it, there was something very striking that someone said to me in America. I was privileged enough to present at Stanford. And they said to me, this is a hospital, we get 30 new innovations coming to us a month that we look at. 30 brand new. 29% of them are from companies that have developed tech that then come to us and say, find us the health environment to put this tech onto. And one of them comes, as you saw earlier, from people who have lived experience, who know the problem and then build tech around it to solve the solution. And those are the ones we adopt. And those are the ones that adopt at scale and gain traction. And we were just talking in the break just a few minutes ago, and there are about 100,000, 97,000, 100,000 apps out there in the health space. At a conference last week, someone said that the average time a patient uses an app is 3 days before they get rid of it. Only 10% of those apps ever go forward to anything of any traction. And most of that relates to what's their ranking on iTunes and how far up. So you think about the space and where we go and the adoption. The ones that succeed are where patients have either developed them in partnership or whether the tech companies have brought in the users right at the very beginning. And I was very lucky. I built a device out of a personal need. There is a niche market for it. 5 million patients, and off we go, and I can adopt it in the US, and hopefully over the next few months it will get adopted in the UK. But there's another interesting thing about adopting technology in the UK. I'm a massive advocate of patients as a huge resource in healthcare, but we just have also this underlying system that says we don't pay for anything. We don't pay for anything in the UK. Can it be prescribed? Now, if I'm honest with you, sitting on a transplant ward, watching a bag fill up and leak and crack all over me, I would have paid anything to solve that problem. But actually, that isn't necessarily the case. So when you're adopting innovation in the UK, one of in a sense, is the barrier to scale, in my view, is you have to prove that health economic argument. You have to prove that actually it really makes sense against what it currently exists in the market from a health economic perspective. It's not just will it improve the quality of life of the patient. So, I'm very lucky, as I said, I sit here with a device that genuinely starts on a hospital ward and is now being used to develop remote monitoring and keep people out of hospital and do all of that sort of thing. But it would never have happened without social media, without other patients, and without the ability to if you like, go to the real world users and say, do you experience the same problems I do? Am I unique? Would you use this? How would you use it? What's that? I mean, that feedback is unbelievable. And that's, for me, one of the powers of patient-driven innovation.